Oh, hello, and welcome to Weekly Wedding Prep Live on Thursday. I'm excited to be here with you in the chat. If you are officiating a wedding, you are in the right place because we are talking about wedding ceremonies. If you're a vendor, if you're getting married, you are welcome. Everyone is welcome here. All things wedding ceremonies. And specifically, we are talking about maybe a wedding you've got coming up this weekend, which is why I call it weekly wedding prep. A lot of stuff comes up as wedding officiants. Had some great stories this past week of people who officiated in the Unboring Wedding community. And how do you become a member of the Unboring Wedding community? You purchase any of the courses, unboringweddingacademy.com. That is how you get in for life, whether you like it or not. You're in for you're in for life if you purchase Unboring Wedding Academy, like so many of the amazing people here in the chat have done. And that gives you access to our Facebook group. That gives you access to me directly. I'm going to answer your emails and the community and our live office hours that we have on the last Tuesday of every month. So that is all that's going on inside Unboring Wedding Academy when I refer to being a member. And a great part of that is I get to see people posting in the Facebook group, members who kind of report on their first wedding or their 21st wedding or their 101st wedding, all the things that happen to us or to the marriers when we are on site or to the planners. It is officiating is a ride. You can officiate years and years and years and still have things come up. This is a new one. That happened to me, recently. A couple of different things where I thought I'd seen it all, but not the case. And talking it through, I find personally that not just talking it through, but when you encounter something the first time, you're caught a bit flat-footed. You don't know if you responded the best way, oh, this is new to me. So you want to have some things at the ready. We just had a report in the Facebook group. I got an email actually of an officiant who some things happened and, she trotted out that line just like we rehearsed, right? It just kind of diffuses the moment, but you're still going to always react to something better the second time you encounter it than the first time. But talking about things together and helps with kind of being prepared, being caught a little less flat-footed, like I say, not sure what to do when something happens. And also, this is a supportive community where if you've got a wedding this weekend and you're thinking, this is going to be a spicy meatball, this is a weird situation, has anyone ever seen this before? Please ask your question in the chat. So if you're joining us, you need to log in to YouTube through your Google account, and then you can comment live. I will read that. Our members only this past Tuesday for the first time was a Zoom chat. So we had a lot of fun actually seeing each other's faces and talking over each other and teasing each other and getting into friendly shouting matches. It was absolutely fantastic. I think we're all very excited to do that again. But this format is you can type anything in the chat, and a lot of great people in the chat, members of Unboring Wedding Academy, first timers. If you're a first timer here, please say, this is my first time. I've got a wedding coming up, or just had a wedding, or maybe you're thinking of launching. Maybe you're just dabbling. I'm thinking of officiating. Are you guys sane? What's the officiant community like? Some of us actually are sane and grounded. I don't necessarily count myself among them, but judge for yourself. Join us, stick around, ask some questions, say hello. This community is extremely helpful, and I've said it, I think, every week, so you're tired of hearing it. But I have heard a lot of folks who join us say that the community in the chat is just as much reason to join. In fact, maybe the primary reason of joining, and you just put up with my talking. It's mostly about the chat happening. So, John, you tagged the wall first. I don't know if you get the purple crown for that today. There's on YouTube, there's crowns. I'm in my restreaming software, so I don't always get to see the crowns changing hands. But John, thank you for being here. And as I said, If you're joining us, please say hello. Say where you're watching from. That's always a joy. And some of you say where you're watching from and where you're actually from. We've got people from Texas watching us from Belgium or that kind of thing. And we love to know that. We also like to know how the weather is. That's been a running joke as long as we've ever done live. So if you're wondering, why are people saying the weather? Because I want to know the weather. Where you are. We all want to know the weather. I am a little tired today, some bags under my eyes because I just can't take, physically, I'm not holding up to the baseball schedule. It's the World Series. Obviously, I am Canadian, and the Toronto Blue Jays, a team that I have loved since before they won back in 92 and 93, are in the series. It's an amazing, at this point, I don't even care who wins, because it's like, I got my money's worth. Not that I've spent a dime on it, but it is so fun to watch the Dodgers and the Jays. It's 3-2 now. Sorry, spoiler alert if you don't know. If you're just waking up in LA, I know it's 9 in the morning, and I wake up at 6 in the morning. The first thing I do, I don't look at anything. The first thing I do is I post my shorts on the socials, on all the things. If you follow my channels, you see those shorts. I do that at 6 in the morning. It takes me about 45 minutes, and then I watch the baseball replay without knowing the score. So I have been staying up for like 3 innings or so. Like last night when I went to bed, the Jays were winning. But still, I'm like a 9:30 bed, 9:30 to 6 person, 10 to 6 person. So even staying up till 10:30, quarter to 11, 11 to watch some of the game is just killing me. I can't. Tonight, there's no game. So I get a reprieve. And then tomorrow night, of course, Friday, I'm going to be up probably until midnight. So any other baseball fans here, I'm not sure, but I know like Scott or other people, they goad me into talking baseball here. So I just thought I'd get that out of the way. Lauren, it's good to see you here from Humble, Texas, and you're here for all of it, even the baseball. So that's great. Glad to hear that. Jane, good to see you here. Familiar, regular face, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in person in a couple of weeks. Cantor Mark is here. One of our usual suspects and members extraordinaire, and one of the people who I got to interface with live on the members Zoom. It was a lot of fun, and I look forward to next month. Sandy is here from Maryland. I know, Sandy Oliver, you've been joining us the last few weeks because you got a wedding coming up in November for, I believe, a nephew, and so excited to have you join us, and hope you can become a member along with us soon, but you want to crush this upcoming ceremony. Absolutely love that. I love how you're engaging and asking questions. That's what we are here for. Yes, Jane, you have sent me an email, and you had questions about website, and I really would. I've got kind of some tabs queued up here. I want to, because I think that you are kind of on the right track in terms of you saying, look, you have a website. I'm not going to share all your particulars here and air it out in public in the open, but you kind of gave me an opening here where I want to explain some of the rationale. I do get questions, not just from you. I'd love a website, Mark, or I hate my website, or I don't have a website. Do I need a website? I kind of want to show you the 5 crucial ingredients that I think a website needs, which is why we created a website template for officiants, unboringweddingacademy.com/website. And I'm going to show you the template we created. And I know, Jane, you asked for some people who have the website and feel like it's very successful and have customized it, because that's what we teach. We kind of upload it and we give you a sandbox where you can change colors, fonts, pictures, copy, and you get a course. When you purchase the website package, you get a course essentially that shows you how to customize those things, best practices, and that kind of thing. But I don't believe that you need a huge website, bells and whistles. Some of the quotes some of you get $5,000, $10,000. Ours is $349 for the year. That includes domain, that includes hosting, that's everything. Now you can, I've said it before, you can get, it's funny that these are the quotes that I'm hearing, because I've always said you can spend $10,000 on your website to get it to, I don't know, make you coffee in the morning. Like a website can do anything now. Do you need that as a wedding officiant? I've always had just a very simple copy, some photos, some reviews, and a way for the couple to get to you super easy and reach out. That is compelling enough, I believe. for couples when they're looking for an officiant. Now, later in this, in our live today, I've got a few topics I want to cover, but Julie did ask me earlier this week, like, I don't want to waste any time here. What makes a celebrant or an officiant stand out? And so I've got some opinions about that. But I just want to weigh before I dive into kind of prepared things. I always say you are here live, and I am here live, and the whole point of this is so you can ask me questions. And so, if you have a question, please throw that in the chat right now. And other people in the chat, incredible members of Unboring Wedding Academy, or even if you're not a member and you've been officiating for years and years, jump in, pile on, give your opinion, give your thoughts, give your advice. There is so much wisdom here together, even when we disagree a little bit. It's like anything, iron sharpening iron here, where when there's, I don't see it that way. I don't do ceremonies like that personally. That's not the tack I take. I joke about the one of the hot potatoes topically in the officiant world is wedding rehearsals. Are they a total waste of time or not? Now, in my course, I'm completely biased on this. It's stage 5, how to run the rehearsal, all the reasons why it's crucial. And I've heard many colleagues who I completely respect and admire say, I never do rehearsals. So sometimes it's what's right for you. I cannot imagine officiating personally without doing a rehearsal. I'm just using that as an example. If you want to pick that up in the chat and say, Mark, say more about that, that's fine. But many of you are probably like, yeah, we know. All right, so Jerry, we got our first weather report. Cool and overcast fall day in Electric City. It is cool and overcast here in New Brunswick as well. We're watching Hurricane Melissa's entrails kind of churn up the East Coast. And of course, my kids are still trick-or-treating age. I love Halloween. Last year, it was ridiculously warm. People were in T-shirts. It was beautiful. The whole community was out. It felt like a summer evening, which... yeah, those of you in California, it's just another day. But here it was super special because I have memories of a kid, trick-or-treating in snowsuits and 3 inches of snow on the ground October 31st. It looks like tomorrow could be a washout. There might be a little bit of a reprieve in the evening, enough to get the kids out. But happy Halloween. I feel like we should have said welcome to our spooktacular weekly wedding practice. You gotta spooky it up the day before Halloween. Craig is here from New Hampshire. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. And mark the moment weddings. It has been a couple of minutes. Mr. Honeyman, good to see you from rainy, chilly Rochester Hills, Michigan. Where you been? I know you had a documentary come out about you, and you've probably been touring the globe about that. So welcome back to the show. I like how Cantor Mark is also claiming he may not be sane. That puts me in good company, sir. Oh, Jane is on her way to a rehearsal. So it's me and Jane, at least, who think that the rehearsal has some value. Good to see you doing that, Jane. Going to be heading to Florida to officiate the wedding of a former student I taught when he was an 8th grader 22 years ago. That is amazing. They knew who to ask. That's absolutely amazing. I'm trying to think of, Mark, in this case, you are a professional wedding officiant, but as I say in the course and everywhere, when you really know the couple well, after you tell the couple's love story and what they love about each other, when everybody loves about them, for me as a professional, that's when I just do kind of a generic reflection, and I call it just today's significant because of the promises they're going to make and how they want to commit their lives to each other. But I say if you're a friend, close friend, or especially a family member, or especially a parent officiating, you want to give some sort of reflection there. You want to say what you love about the couple personally, not just reading what other people love, but what you love about them. Why you're proud of them, what you wish for them. So, Mark, I'm wondering, like when as a student you taught 22 years ago, have you kept in touch? It sounds like you're skating the line. That's what I thought of when I saw that. Is like you've been asked because you're a pro and a longtime friend, and clearly had like a mentoring influence. Did you keep in touch with them? Do you feel like it would be appropriate? Are you equipped to give a reflection about the couple? I'm very, very curious about that. You're kind of in a liminal space there, in between one and the other. Good to see you, Art 22255. Good day. Sorry to have missed the inaugural Zoom. Well, it'll be coming up every month. If you're a member of Unboring Wedding Academy, we will do Zoom. We see each other's faces, hear each other's voices, and I'm glad we got to do that right before, drum roll, Wedding MBA. Take your shot. I mean, it's so close. I have to talk about it, right? This is where we're going to see each other at the largest wedding convention in North America next, not this coming week, but the week after that. I'll be speaking. I'll be expoing. I'm hosting the Officiant Room. It is going to be so fun. And that is when a lot of us see each other. But I'm glad we got to do that right before Wedding MBA, so we can put, kind of faces and voices to the names. Sometimes you see people in person and you're like, is that who? Are you the person with just the picture I've seen for 2 years? I absolutely love it. It's amazing. Go Dodgers. Well, you can show yourself out, Lauren. uh, that's amazing. I wonder, where in the world are you? Did you say? I know you said. Oh, from Texas. Okay, so you're from Texas. You're here for it. You're close enough. You're close enough to cheer for the Dodgers. So welcome. And we got Go Jays. This is we're breaking into factions here. It's all fun and in good spirit. Mark, can you share what you say when the couples are writing and reading their vows, but also want the long question when they answer I do? So you can go to my blog. I do have a blog, Unboring Wedding. If you go to my blog and type in vows, I literally have an article, what to say. I could pull that up right now, but if you Google it, Sandy, I use the same vows all the time. It is from that blog. I tell the couples they have full editorial control, but in Officiantly, it gets loaded in, and I could do that right now. I could just share my screen in Officiantly, and you can see what is preloaded in there. Let me do that. So Inefficiently, this is the ceremony management software platform we designed right here at Unboring Wedding Academy by officiants, funded by officiants, for officiants. I use this for every wedding ceremony I do, and thank goodness for it. It saves hours and hours of time per ceremony. When you click into a ceremony draft here, I've got to make sure that I choose a ceremony that has some of those vows in it. When I'm thinking of Naomi and Mark, that's my wife. So this is kind of a dummy script I've created. Let me go down here, and I think I can show, if you can see the screen. Yep. Because in the first section, inefficiently, when you sit down with your couple, you actually work in this section right here. I've shown you this before. You take your laptop in, and it used to be a spreadsheet that then you'd have to take all that information and write the script using the spreadsheet. Now it's anything you put in here is automatically ported over, and you'll get to the elements part, and you see these drop downs here: vow style, write and read your own, repeat line by line, or I do. Now, in your case, you said maybe they want to write and read their own. I think you asked this last time, Sandy. Do you need a second vow style? And if you say yes, then that'll get saved over, and then you choose the second vow style. And if it's I do reply or repeat after me, again, that automatically gets ported over into the ceremony script draft. So this thing is essentially writing the script as you go with the information. That means, of course, that there's default information that the system is going to push out there when you generate the script. It's not going to reinvent the wheel every single time. Some of the language is the same. I say the same thing at every wedding. So, for example, this is where I start talking. All this stuff here is stage directions, 30 minutes before the ceremony, 5 minutes before the ceremony, all the checks you're doing. But here, good afternoon. Are you ready to get Naomi and Mark married? My name is Mark. I'm honored to be. It's funny to see. I'm the groom here and the officiant. There's placeholders here because, again, this is a dummy, and I did not fully entered information in the wedding workshop. I just said, okay, let's generate a script because I wanted to show you this. All this stuff, the entrance, the question, story, intent of marriage, the couple doesn't see that. It says writing in progress for them. Any readings here? Naomi and Mark have asked someone to share a reading with us. Again, the someone is replaced by the person when you enter their name in the wedding workshop. But this is where I can show you, because of what we chose over there, Mark hands Mark his sheet of vows and the mic. Mark reads, returns his sheet to Mark, and hands them. Try to get beyond how absurd this is right now. Hands the mic to Naomi, and now Naomi reads hers, and Mark hands again. The stage directions are super important in a wedding script. It is like a play, and that means you do need to block out the movements and have everything down here. But then, Sandy, finally answering your question. Because of what we chose, because we chose I do in that drop down, it actually took out what I think was there moments ago, the repeat after me. So this says, Mark, I'm going to ask you a question. You reply with I do. This is essentially what you'll find on my blog. So if you're like, oh man, this is on video, go to my blog, unboringwedding.com, the blog, and you can even search vows, and those articles should pop up. I've got a blog about, and these blogs are old classics now, a few years old, what the 3 vow styles that you just saw, and what to say. And there's a smattering of options there. But I always use these ones. Like I say, for anyone using Officiantly, this will be the default. Now, by the end of the month, I'm going to say this to anybody listening and curious about Officiantly and saying, well, I'm a pro. What if I don't want to use Mark's Officiantly template speech all the time? What if I have my own favorite? I'm really excited to roll out at the end of this month. We have a Black Friday deadline that I'm hoping to hit. Because right now, Officiantly is only offered to members of Unboring Wedding Academy because it's kind of inside the training. But I want to make this available to anyone and everyone all over the world, even if you don't want to purchase the Academy course. Maybe you're like, I've been officiating for 10 years. I don't really think I need to take a course. Well, you still want Officiantly. Trust me, it's amazing. And so what we're going to allow is that you can change the template. We're building in the capability here where you go in as a user and there will be a button at the bottom that says, customize your own template, basically. And you'll go in and you'll write your own favorite script. And then from that point on, and let's face it, a lot of it is like you'll paste in your favorite scripts from all the other weddings you've done. When you're new, you don't need to do this because you're like, oh, I want to use Mark's wording. That's awesome. But as we evolve as officiants, it's like anything. I love that you make it your own. You're like, well, I don't word it quite like that, the way Mark says it or the way Officiantly says I should. And Officiantly doesn't say you should, but we had to put something in there. This is going to allow you to put your own wording in once and for all. And then for every ceremony you create, you'll see your own favorite wording. Because again, I say the same thing at every wedding. Couple signs off on it. And that goes for vows. Now there's options for vows, as you'll see in my blog. But this says, Mark, do you take Naomi to be your wife, your life partner and friend, to join her life with yours, to share with her all that will be, to laugh with her in joy and comfort her in sorrow and grow with her in love? Do you promise to honor her and be faithful to her all the days of your life? That's the question I ask for I Do Vows. You'll see it's prefaced with, Mark, I'm going to ask you a question. You can reply with I do. Again, if you like to say something else leading into those vows, Officiantly will have the capacity for you to edit that template once and for all. And when I say once and for all, I don't mean you can never edit it again. I mean, every ceremony you create after that will serve up your own language there as opposed to mine, frankly, which is what you get when you'll get what you get and you won't get upset if you purchase Academy and Officiantly. But now, again, the community has said, Mark, your wording is great and everything, but I like to say my own thing. So you'll kind of lead them into this with some sort of instruction, but then that's what is preloaded here. And again, 99% of my couples read this because you send this to your couple. This is what's great about this format here. I'll just collapse it all so you can see the whole ceremony outlined. It says invite couple. So you see here, when you click this one click, it pops down and says you're about to invite your couple to see the draft. And that's part of what saves hours of time with this software is you don't copy and paste and file and enter their emails and compose a draft. You just want, because you put their email addresses at the beginning, you click invite couple and it sends it off to them. You get a CC email, so you see that they got it. And then they click and they get a couple's side version of this, which means they don't get to edit. They don't get to delete anything, and they don't have access to the AI feature, which we've just added here is you can ask AI to do anything in the ceremony, write sections, add sections. What they do get, though, is the ability here to comment and make a note, which is really crucial for the ceremony process, right? So when you drop this down, if they said rehearsal location and date, and again, if that was TBD or something, they could comment here and say, yes, this is confirmed. Or you could comment when you send it to them. That's really important. That's another thing that you don't have to worry about emailing or texting back and forth or that kind of thing. It's right here in the system where you can communicate with each other. And so they see this. They will see their vows. You want them to sign off on their vows. And like I tell couples, I have favorite vows that most couples love. I'm going to put that in your script. You can check them. And this is a case where you might want to flag this, add the comment here, and just say, please approve. When I want to draw certain attentions to things in the script for couples, this is what I do. And then you will see this little pink circle appears in the script. So when they're looking it over, they'll see these pink circles, and then they in turn comment on it. It becomes like a thread here. So this says Mark said, please approve. Then here it would say the couple says this, and then you can resolve. You see here the check mark. If I want to say this is resolved, you just click it away, mark as resolved, and now it's green, and you save it out and see how the pink circle disappeared. So this kind of collaboration with your couple is really, really important. And when you hit on vows that most couples love, when it comes to, most of the times couples say, just put something there that you think works or that most of your couples love. That's fine. If they're writing and reading their own, which they are here, you give them some advice. But when it comes to I do or repeat after me, I like to use these ones. Now, if this was repeat after me, I essentially use the same format, but it's instead of a question, right? And in Officiantly, you can click anywhere and edit anything you want. But this would be formed as a statement, not a question. It wouldn't be Mark, do you take Naomi? It would be I, Mark, take Naomi, take you, Naomi, to be my wife, my life partner and friend, to join my life with yours, So instead of the big, long, blah, 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 blah question where they just stand there and then say, I do, this is phrased as a statement and you repeat with them line by line. Again, a lot of that will be covered in the blog that I wrote there. But thank you for that. Hopefully that was helpful. And I just kind of gave you the full bean spillage. That sounded worse than spill the beans for some reason. I think the word spillage is kind of weird. I gave you all the information about what is required when it comes to, like I say, what do you say? What vows do you provide to your couple? But whatever you do, that's why we built it into Officiantly. You send them the script, get them to sign off on vows when it's repeat after me or when it's I do. I always want the couple to like and approve of what they are saying. That's really, really important. Okay, so Vegas is hot. So you're already in Vegas, Jane, or are you just looking at the weather? No, you said you're in North Carolina. I think Sabra said she's going to be in Vegas for like 12 days or something like that. So Sabra may be getting there just next week. Hi, Dimples. Good to see you. You're loving the YouTube shorts. You start your day with Eckhart Tolle. Oh, that is intimidating. Thank you so much for... as you know, my shorts are basically just cut up videos that I have made before, usually. It'll be bits of this, for example, taking out 1 minute, and that's just kind of how I'm getting my reach out there and helping people out, get lots of good engagement. And so I do not come anywhere close to Eckhart Tolle. Much respect to him and his thoughts. And if you are here live, you're seeing a lot of this stuff already, but I'm glad I could help you get on with your day. Anita's here. That's great. ART. I remember we're going back to, you were ART for a while, then you switched to Anita, and then we all could tell who you are, but now you're going back to your alias. Okay. Mark's weighing in on the rehearsal. Most definitely. Absolutely. Huge marketing opportunity. Yes. 100% preaching to the choir. Love it. We'll go to Wedding MBA, and then we'll all have the friendly debates as officiants about why or why not to go to rehearsals. But I've said it a million times. I love meeting the couple's friends and family, like I say, marketing opportunity. And this is stealing some of my thunder for the question, what makes, maybe this is a good segue. I can't just keep teasing that I'm going to do something later because we've already been at it for half an hour. When Julie asked me what makes an officiant or celebrant really stand out, like just let's cut to the chase. There's lots of best practices and things. Mark, what do you say makes a celebrant stand out? One of the huge things that I said is you want to get vendor referrals. You want the planners and the vendors referring you. That's going to be massive for your bookings. You want the cold calls from couples who don't know you and have never seen you before, but you also want vendors and planners saying to couples who book them, this is the officiant for you. You need to call this person. And a huge part of that is from showing how organized and proficient, and I would say authoritative you are as an officiant. Those three features. I've had planners tell me, I love how you take command, Mark, in a friendly, gregarious, gracious way, but you're in charge. I love how organized you are. Like that blows planners away. Planners are super organized, and even if they're not organized by personality, they take wedding planning courses that make them organized. I got to say, officiating has made me organized. I don't bend that way naturally. If you saw my desk right now, you would know what I'm saying. But that organization blows planners away, especially when you show them a script like I just showed you in Officiantly. When planners see, wow, you've got all the stage directions, you actually care how the processional is going to go down. So before a rehearsal, I will go to the planner. If I've never met them, I've pretty much met them all by this point at where I am, but shake hands, introduce yourself, show them your script and say, can we make sure we're on the same page here? Do you have processional? And they'll look at your script. This has happened to me early in Toronto in my career. And they'd be like, I've never seen an officiant have all the names like that listed out and who's coming in when and what the cues are and the different groups and all that. Are you the planner or are you the officiant? They love it. And so when you're that organized and then you run the rehearsal, and I got to say, venue owners love this. I am looking at exclusively officiating at the Algonquin in 2027. This is kind of breaking news. Because Kate there, the event coordinator in charge of weddings, loves that I show up at the rehearsal on Fridays. We're talking more about rehearsals than I thought, but maybe the stars are aligned or something. I show up on Fridays. I run the rehearsal. She's typically there because she's an amazing ninja, but sometimes she's got to be with another couple or at another rehearsal where there isn't anyone, where the officiant isn't doing it or she walks the couple through the space or whatever, but they love that I run the rehearsal and that takes a load off of their staff and their timetable. So that's been a huge, as Mark says perfectly, marketing opportunity. So you show you're authoritative, you show that you are organized, you show that you're on time, and then you build rapport with the friends and family. So the next day when you see them, it's like high fives. Hey, how was your night? Not nice to meet you, my name is. To me, it's, I could go on for an hour about the rehearsals, which is why the entire stage 5 of Unboring Wedding Academy is about not just how to run it, but how to build that rapport and get everybody laughing, get everybody on your side. The same way that you do that with the guests on the wedding day, the strategy around your opening remarks, that also happens at the rehearsal where you're getting the friends and the family on your side, and frankly, the couple. When they see you run a rehearsal, you're fun, you're gregarious, you're gracious with people's mistakes. They know, my goodness, I can't wait for my wedding day because my officiant was so incredible at the rehearsal. I love it. I can't go on. It's one of my favorite things about officiating. So that kind of answers Julie's question that I wanted to get to. What makes an officiant really stand out? I have another anecdote related to that I will get to. I just want to keep going down through the chat here to see if there's any questions. Here's one. How much reminding do you do with couples? For example, a recent couple hadn't obtained their license 2 days before the ceremony, even though I had a page of instructions in the ceremony questionnaire. Wow. So, this is another reason why I can't believe this is happening. You have the rehearsal because uh, at the rehearsal is when you take the paperwork from the couple. Now, here in New Brunswick and in Ontario, you could, in a pinch, Ontario's a bit busier, but I've had couples have the OMG moment. Friday, something happened. The bride's flight was delayed. They didn't get their license, and they went on the Saturday morning to get their marriage license, and the wedding was later in the day at 3 o'clock. In fact, the full wedding ceremony that a video that is inside the course, I get asked by a lot of people. In fact, I got asked today, is there a full ceremony video of you officiating, Mark? That's reserved for members of Unboring Wedding Academy. There's two of them inside Unboring Wedding Academy, Jasmine and Chris, which is actually the ceremony I use as an example that we build inside the course training. You can see me officiate that amazing wedding at the Algonquin. And then Jen and Chris, which was a chilly, cold, blowing day overlooking a lake on a family property. That was the couple who that morning they had to go and get their license. It was the Friday at the rehearsal. And yes, this place was an hour and some away. I build that into my price and my planning. I did the rehearsal with them on the Friday, went out there, said, do you have your license? And they were stressed out beyond belief. But I told them, just make the appointment. You can make sure that happens on Saturday morning. They made an appointment. They went in together. They got the paperwork on their wedding day. Highly not recommended. Typically, when I see a couple's itinerary, it is from 8 a.m. until midnight, and I don't know how they sandwich that in that day. So when I check with, it sounds like, Mark, you crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. In the wedding workshop, remember that part in Officiantly that I showed you, that wedding workshop where you sit down with them and write enter in all the inputs from what they want in their ceremony? That 1 hour workshop happens 4 to 6 weeks before the day. And when we get to the signing part of Officiantly, when you go in there and you get all the information, that's a whole other specific section of Officiantly. This is where I ask them, and I'll just show you what that looks like in the workshop. This is where I ask them, do you have your license yet? So if you're a user of Officiantly, like I said, this is the registry signing. Which two people are the witnesses? What's the setup style? If they're sitting, is it a 2-chair setup? Is that okay? Who do you give the license to? While we're talking about this in Officiantly, that is when I say to them, do you have your marriage license yet? So beyond that, Mark, if you're just asking me, I don't remind them, because typically they say, oh, it's on it. It's on our schedule. If they haven't yet, they're like, holy cow, yes. And a month is way, way enough time to do that. But then at the rehearsal, to me, that's the last traffic cone you're going to drive through in terms of it's getting close now. You don't have your paperwork. That's, like I say, only happened to me 2 or 3 times. So I wouldn't be too stressed. They hadn't obtained their license 2 days before the ceremony. Some of my couples, they get it on the Friday. Depends if they have an appointment or if they just want to wait in line at the Service New Brunswick, where people are getting their driver's license renewed and their hunting licenses and things. That might be a risky move, but that's just about what I do. Okay, so let's see. Mark, it takes you 45 minutes to put on your shorts. Did I say that? I don't remember. Did I black out when I said that? If the couple does not want the signing of the marriage contract during the ceremony, when do all 3 of us sign? So typically, I know this is a kind of a curveball in the US, although because I can go on and on about why the ceremony, the registry, the license signing in the ceremony is so amazing. A lot of couples say, what the heck? No, thank you. We've never seen it. We don't want to be groundbreaking in that way. Typically, it's afterwards. And I've done this too for different reasons, even in Canada, where the couple says we want to sign after. Maybe the grounds are beautiful. There's another separate place where they want to do it, a quiet, intimate moment with a couple of witnesses and the photographer. They want it to be more posed. Again, typically it's after. It can be before. It can be during a first look, something like that. That usually happens a couple hours before the ceremony, though, and so you don't want to be there. But it could be right before the ceremony. It could be right after the ceremony. The thing about signing the papers right before the ceremony is sometimes you need to have asked them their declaration of intent. We talked about this last week. Maybe you need to have had some sort of ceremony where you ask them the declaration of intent and do a little vow thing, although not in most states. But technically, in order to sign those papers, you're basically saying we did that. And so that's why 90% of the time it's going to be afterwards. And so Sandy, you would just plan for that. You would say after the ceremony, in the closing remarks, I would say, we're going to sign the papers together, and then your couple will rejoin shortly. In the meantime, it's cocktail hour, blah, blah, blah. So you can just tell people we are stepping out to sign the papers. And again, I think in the States that would be kind of very, very, very common and expected. The couple typically wants to step out for a breather anyway. In fact, I always recommend it. After the ceremony, go off, take a breather, just the two of you, or maybe whatever you want there. But I kind of talk them through that moment inefficiently. We say, after the ceremony, what are you doing? That's where I highly encourage the couple, take a breather. You've been standing, you just went through a lot with the ceremony, processional, all the feels and everything. Go and have a sandwich or something and enjoy each other for a few minutes. So hopefully that answered your question. Great question. Hello, Jack. Good to see you. Love the content. Can anyone go to Vegas to meet and participate in your venue? Can anyone go to Vegas to meet and participate in your venue? I'm not sure what you mean. So in Vegas, it's Wedding MBA, weddingmba.com. It is a massive industry event happening. And it is, at this point, I think $400 per ticket or something like that. So yes, anyone can go, but you need to pay for the conference. You need to have your badge, that kind of thing. So weddingmba.com. If you still want to go, use code MARK. That's a speaker code because I'm speaking. That'll give you the steepest discount that's available right now. But like I say, it is a wedding industry professionals, like Wedding MBA, wedding business. I forget what it stands for. But it's an industry business conference, basically. All the planners, photographers, DJs, venue owners. There's multiple streams, and there's an officiant stream and an officiant breakout room, and that's where we see each other. Reception is what I was referring to in the second part of my earlier post. Yeah, it's interesting. I was going to bring up Ben in our Facebook group. Asked a fun poll: who goes to the reception? Do any officiants go to the reception? Couples often invite you. Do you go? I thought I'd throw that out here too, because that was a fun little poll in our members only Facebook group. The answer for me is never, unless I get asked to MC the reception, which I have. And I charge the same amount of money that I do to do the ceremony. So I charge $1,000 for the ceremony. I would charge $1,000 to MC. And that's a way for officiants to kind of add another service if you'd like. But I don't crash the dinner. I always tell the couple, by that point, typically you're the only people who I will know. You don't need to pay me. You don't need to feed me. Sorry, you don't need to pay me. Delete that. You don't need to feed me. You have to feed the photographer. You have to feed the DJ. You have to feed the people who are working the reception. But I always just find them afterwards, give them a hug, say I love them and congrats and it was so great working with you. And then I head off into the sunset, drop the mic and leave. The helicopter comes, drops the ladder, and I get on it and I go into the sky. Hello, Mark. Can anyone go to Vegas? Oh, yeah. Okay, we already had that. I think that's the question. Hopefully I answered. Your description is exactly what happened at the rehearsal. They called the clerk 5 minutes for closing, arranged to pick up the next day. We did the workshop many months ahead of time. I mean, what can you do? You know, I got a question by Scott about following up. Again, we kind of talk about this, poking couples who said they would leave you a review but haven't, versus couples who never said they would leave you a review. And so, Scott, this is for you. I'm going to answer here so that I can just in an email direct you to the 40-minute mark or whatever it is, 45-minute mark. You know, that is a preference. That's a personal preference in terms of how you want to poke them. I think Scott was saying they're likely to be more receptive to a second or third prompting. Hey there, you did say you'd leave a review, but you haven't. Versus a couple that never said they would. You don't want to harass them. So this to me is like it comes down to personal preference. How comfortable are you doing that, kind of poking them? But I will also say this really is about the personality of your couple. Like many couples say, many people in your life say, I'm going to do X, Y, and then they never do it, even if you say you're going to do X, Y, and they say, oh yeah, I will, and then they never do. So I mean, there's some folks like that you could, no amount of prompting guarantees the outcome that you're looking for. So we've talked creatively in other lives about how to circle around and, hey there, anniversary. I think it was Nancy who said, like, you could follow up at their 1 year anniversary if they haven't left a review yet, and just include your link again. Congratulations. Hey, if you haven't yet, leave a, I always like to say, if you haven't yet. That could be a second time. You could, you could wait a month later. You can follow up and say, hey, I just want to let you know your paperwork should be filed now, again, with the review link. But if you're just kind of saying, listen, you said you would leave a review, so now I feel like I can ask you 3 times or something. I can't guarantee how I can't guarantee how your couple would respond, and neither can your poking and prompting guarantee the outcome. It really is going to be the personality of your couple. It is so frustrating because we know how meaningful reviews are. I mean, I got to say, I'm guilty sometimes of eating at a restaurant and the server saying, please, here's a card, TripAdvisor, leave a review. My name is Carlos or whatever. And I say I'll do it, and sometimes I lose the card or forget to do it, or I've been guilty of it too. We hope we have a little bit more of an intimate relationship with our couple as their officiant than I do with server Carlos, for example, over the course of an 1.5-hour meal at a restaurant. But I'm guilty of saying I'll leave a review and I don't, and it is frustrating for us because we know what a difference it makes. And so I really try to be the kind of person who leaves reviews online because I know how much it means to us as officiants to see that. We got Cantor Mark here. What if the officiant gets sidelined by illness or accident, God forbid, after taking the paperwork license from the couple at the rehearsal? Not a good look. Yeah, I mean, that is devilish, Mark. In that case, I don't know. I don't ever anticipate, I guess, illness or injury. I suppose it's good to plan for contingencies, but I mean, I fully plan to be there the next day. Now, if something were to happen, I think you would call. This is a case where if you can't make it to the ceremony for illness or injury, you refund them the money, right? That's fully in my contract. We talked about this last week, actually. Split the payments into 2. The first 50% is the retainer, non-refundable retainer. That means if your couple cancels on you anytime after that, they don't get that 50% back. They paid to be on your calendar. But in my contract, I say, then when you give the second payment, 50%, the second 50%, then anytime if you cancel, because I collect that 2 weeks before the ceremony, I say, I have your remaining 50%, but if your wedding were to be canceled for some reason more than 7 days before the wedding, I will give you that second 50% back. Which again, last week is why I said that's why I don't work on the ceremony in terms of the story and all that stuff until the week of the wedding. Because once that 7-day mark crosses, I know that I'm going to be able to keep the full fee, even if they were to cancel. Again, that's never happened. No wedding I've ever had has canceled that close. But I'm now willing to do the work because I got paid and I know I'll get to keep the money. However, my contract does state, if I need to cancel on you, I am fully allowed to do that. and I am free from any indemnity, but I need to refund you 100% of the money. So to me, this would take the sting away, is if there were accident or illness where you couldn't make it to the ceremony, you would have to reach out to your couple and say, look, I've got 2 broken legs. I'm in a hospital bed and I'm on a ventilator. Maybe your spouse is writing this email. And you need to come by my house and pick up your license again. And by the way, I'm fully refunding the fee. You're getting all your money back. That's I don't believe I don't believe that if I don't follow through and officiate their actual ceremony, I should keep any of the money. So that's the way the contract is broken down. If they cancel on me, there's a couple of, I keep the first half, or 8 days before I can refer. But if I cancel on them, they get all their money back because I haven't fulfilled the important part of the work, which is, officiating their ceremony. So thanks for kind of pulling out that distinction. To answer your question, I don't plan on getting sick or injured. Nobody does. Things happen. I think that gets you a lot of grace, especially at the rehearsal. Everyone's so happy. They're happy to give you the paperwork, get it out of their hands. I think this would happen with a planner as well. The planner has lots of valuable things, the rings and crucial things for the wedding day. If something happened to them, they'd have to get somebody to fix it. So if it were close by, I would probably ask somebody I know, maybe my wife, to go to the Algonquin or wherever and bring the paperwork and make sure it's there. I would try to accommodate them as best I could, while also, again, being conscious, hey, you're getting all your money back, which would take the edge on. Well, MBA stands for Master in Business Administration, but that's not what it stands for Wedding MBA. It's something else. The event has a different acronym. So that's what your typical MBA stands for, but it's called like the wedding. No, I'm not even going to try. It's going to bother me. I'm going to look it up later, but I don't want to spend your time doing it. Pro tip, talk with them on the phone, record their live review with permission, transcribe versus email. Yeah. So Mark, you're a big proponent of AI listening. That's great. Listen to Mark, everybody. Like I said, I've checked the feasibility of this in person. You can use AI now to transcribe a conversation, order, that kind of thing when it's clear. But in a coffee shop, that's where I like to meet the couple. There are sound challenges. When I looked it up, put your phone on the table. If there's other ambient noise or music, we're still this is why, I told you the developer said, do you want to do this in Officiantly? Do you want to just have Officiantly record the conversation and then bang, make the transcript? Which, we might be there in a few years, but right now, bang, make the script, not the transcript. Make the script from the transcript of the conversation. When it's 3 people talking and there's other ambient noise, it can be really dicey. And I'm not into introducing more diciness into the process right now. But if it is a controlled environment like this, then yeah, that does work. There it is. Somebody came through. Wedding Merchants Business Academy. I couldn't think of the M. Merchants, and they really kind of made it fit. They strained to make it fit. Hello, fellow wedding merchant. Okay, so we got more people piling on. Like I'm the only idiot who didn't know what it stood for. Wedding Merchant Business Academy. One thing I did promise is to show you briefly and I don't see any more questions right now, so we have a few minutes more. I wanted to show you what our wedding template looks like. If you go to unboringweddingacademy.com/website, this is essentially the template that we provide. $350 hosting, domain, 1 year of using this theme. It is a theme. I'm big on replication. If you haven't guessed by now, I'm big on let's replicate excellent service over and over again. We don't want to reinvent the wheel every time. It's the difference between science and art. I do believe we make art with our love stories. That's the super personal part, personalized part. But when something is working, your booking process, your pitch to your couples, your vibe check, your chemistry check, your workshop, the process, you want it to be replicated. And to me, a website like this It's going to have everything that a wedding officiant needs. So, the 5 components, we've got this big splash where ideally this is a picture of you officiating. When you purchase this, like I said, you get a course of how to go in our very, user-friendly apparatus behind the scenes here to customize this picture, customize all the wording, customize this logo here. It's just a matter of swapping things in. You'll see across the top, this is what I believe every wedding website needs. It needs to be bang, you front and center. This is kind of our template site, Serena. So you would change the photo here. You would change any of this stuff. And there needs to be we allow that we provide 3. I say in the customization course, think of 3 unique selling points that you're going to offer, or keep these if you want. Reviews go here, and you can have a whole stack of them. I show you how to pop those in. We have a very easy user interface where you put your reviews in, and it needs to list out your services. So I'm clicking on the services page across the top. Again, this photo you would change. Personal photos are better, and we even add the photo credit here of the photographer. There's a way to just activate that in the page. You want all your services listed clearly with the price. That's really important. You want couples, when they land here, to say, you're too expensive for me. No, you want them to self-select. But if they like what they see and they like the price, they will follow down this path. Then there's a separate review page. So you saw that we had reviews over on the home page, but then you also want to have as many reviews as you can listed out here. And then your FAQ page. I really think you need to handle objections or couples saying, yeah, but what about this? What about that? What about travel? What if you're sick? Again, you provide these. You can use these stock ones here, but you can actually add more or edit these. Of course, you want to answer these based on your own, the way how and when do I pay? Do we apply for our marriage license, or do you, again, you answer those based on where you are. And then every page, you'll notice, drives the couple to inquire. Every website needs to have one goal. A really good website has a goal for the visitor. And the goal of an officiant website is for them to inquire. So you want every page to say inquire, inquire, inquire. And yes, for Americans who don't like the E, we have made it possible to change it to I, inquire, inquire. In Canada, the British kind of language, we're like inquire. Inquire is to ask a question. Inquire is to ask about availability. All right, let's not get bogged down into grammar. But enough people said, can we change the E to I? But this is where, make it super easy. Get the details you need, nothing more. You don't want it to be onerous. I've seen some officiant websites where this is where they start asking, where were you born? When were you born? What do you love about your loved one? How many people are going to be at your wedding? Who's going to be at your wedding? Do you have any ideas about your party yet? No, that's all wedding workshop stuff. Here, make it easy for them to inquire. But what you need to make an informed choice is, where is the wedding? What time is the wedding? Where is the wedding? What city? What's the venue? And then, which of my services are you inquiring about? This is where, I really think it's important to make them click the drop down and choose one. Kind of that shows, okay, they've really explored you and they know what they're asking. Deluxe, classic, or simple. Again, those are all the things that are listed on the services page. And then, how did you hear about me? I love the data that I get from, what the Algonquin recommended you. You're on the preferred vendor list at Dominion Hill. Great. I love hearing that. And then comments or questions. This gives them, many couples don't put anything there, but some say, I saw you officiate in blah, blah, 2019 or something, and I absolutely loved it. So that is the essentials that I think are really important on a website. A tortured acronym. Yeah. All of us Googled it. Okay, so it wasn't just me. Yeah. Thank you for Googling it for me. Wedding Merchants Business Academy. The anecdote I wanted to leave you with, and kind of answering Julie's question in the last minute here. If you've got a question that takes me a minute to ask, you may ask it now. I just did a vibe check. That means the couple, chem check, vibe check. The couple reached out and said, Mark, are you available? I was available, and I meet with the couple. In this case, it was online. I never book a couple. I never take their money until I talk with them and meet with them. I started giving my pitch in Unboring Wedding Academy. .com/pro, my pro course. one whole unit is how to prepare for this chem check, this vibe check, because it is a sales meeting. You're pitching yourself to the couple. You want them to book you. I mean, you're also sussing them out and stuff, but essentially you need to give them a sales pitch about what you do, and there's a right way to do that. There's a best way to do that. There's a way that gets them excited. And so I did my whole chem check, and part of that chem check is describing what we're going to do in the wedding workshop, but that's also taking them through what the ceremony is going to look like. I give opening remarks, I welcome them, then I do this, then I tell your love story, what you love about Jenna. Here's how I will build that. I'm going to ask you some questions. Then we got vows, rings, and I'm going to ask you what you. So I'm describing the wedding workshop. This was much of my talk at Wedding MBA last year, and then we. And then I'm describing the ceremony in that. It's kind of like two birds with one stone. And I got done my whole pitch and I said, okay, so do you have any more questions? And she said, this is really weird. And I don't know if it's true, but she said, did you officiate for Teresa and Simone? Did you ever officiate for a couple called Teresa and Simone? And I was like, yes, that rang a bell. But I said, wasn't that really long ago? Like that? She said, yeah, it was years ago. And I said, well, do you remember where it was? She said, the Algonquin. I said, yes, it's coming back to me. So while we were talking, I went into my email, pulled it up. She was right. I had officiated for this couple in 2019. And here's what I wanted to say. And this is why it answers Julie's question. What makes an officiant stand out? She said, this is crazy, because she said, it's kind of foggy. I didn't remember you or your face or your brand or anything like that, really, which, I was hurt. I thought it was more memorable than that. So I was like only slightly offended. Wait, I'm not memorable as a person. But she said, when you described what my ceremony will look like, in my memory, 6 years ago, I sat in a wedding ceremony like that, and I absolutely loved it. And I want that kind of ceremony. And here I am cold calling on the internet, and I'm sitting with you, and I found you without even trying. And I just thought that speaks volumes to that ceremony experience that we provide as Unboring Wedding Officiants. Fun opening remarks, personal story, what they love about each other, what everybody else loves about them, moving through the vows they want, the ring exchange, then pronouncing them and the kiss, and then the signing. And I told them I encourage fun music there. And then we come back to the center, and I get everybody on their feet, and I make sure to do the signing after the kiss, because then it's fun. And then we go to center, and then on your feet, I present to you. And she said, I never forgot Teresa and Simone's ceremony. And when you described it, like a penny dropped, and I said, that must be you. So, friends, this is kind of what sticks. I always say you bring your personality, and I asked her, was your fiance who was there on the call? I said, was he in the picture at that time? She said, no. And I wasn't engaged, and love was not in the air for me 6 years ago. So it wasn't like a thing where, I'm going to take his name down. She said, it's been 6 years. I said, is that couple going to be your wedding? She said, no, I've lost touch with them, which is probably why she couldn't reach out to them and say, hey, who is your officiant? But she never forgot the ceremony, even if she forgot me. And I think that is an amazing distinction about the power of what we do. Yes, it hurts my pride a little bit that she doesn't remember me. I look a lot different now, though, than I did 6 years ago. It's been COVID and a lot of other things. I have a teenage daughter now, so I'm getting whiter by the day in terms of hair and wrinkles. But so I don't blame her for not recognizing me, but she never forgot the ceremony. That's what I want for you, whether you're a member who's purchased the training, whether you're a pro going full bore in 2026, whether you got one coming up. You want to provide the kind of ceremony that no one, even the guest in the seats for whom love is not on the horizon yet, they will never forget that ceremony, even if they forget, and then you remind them of it years later. All right. Mark says, I had a lucky find happen after I was on a national radio broadcast in 1985, a guy pulled my business card off Trader Joe's bulletin board, not realizing it was me. That's amazing. See? So, and the longer you are doing this, the more that's going to happen. It is a snowball effect. It takes patience to plant these seeds. Good session today, Mark. Script, software demos, website overview, and your referral story were all helpful. That's good. I want you to be able to glean. I know Sandy's on here. She emailed me and said, I'm just going to chime in, and I usually pick up some helpful things, and that's the point. And all of you are so helpful too. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to sign off. We do have next week. Before I am away the week after that. I hate missing a week, but I'm going to be in Vegas that day on the expo floor on the Thursday. And as the question was asked before, if you want to come to Wedding MBA, you can still purchase a ticket. Use the discount code MARK at checkout. I hope to see all of you there. I know I'm talking a lot to members about coming alongside and meeting, and we're going to have a great time there. As always, friends, thank you. You make this possible. If I were here talking to myself, it wouldn't be as fun. I mean, I'd do it anyway, but I love that you're here interacting, and you make my day. I look forward to Thursdays. All right, friends, have a great weekend. Hopefully you get some trick-or-treating in. Go Jays and or Dodgers, depending on where you're from. I won't get into a tangent. I was going to say, I'm not invested enough in sports. Sports psychology, I've never been the kind of, like, I don't say my Jays, or if the Jays win, I don't say we won. And I lived in Toronto for 10 years. I just don't understand, like, identifying with the players. They're hitting the balls and catching the balls and throwing the ball. It's not me. So anyway, I've never been the kind of person who is like super invested. I love a good story that a series provides or a game provides. I absolutely love it. So this has been a great story, this World Series. And I will see you next week checking in, and we'll be able to ultimately rub it in each other's faces who won, right? All right. Looking forward to that, friends. Thanks again for everything. Don't talk to yourself. Okay. Thanks a lot, friends. Talk to you next week. And until then, marry on. Have great weddings this weekend.